The storms that have been passing over the North Carolina area for the past night have let up for the evening here on the campus of Duke University, where Prince Samuel Josiah has took refuge for the past few nights. Refuge from some mysterious attack. He has had time to weigh his options and to think. Here in this private quarters of the Tremere, Dr. Ekman, the prince is seated in the a behind a breakaway wall on the inside of a broom closet. Not knowing himself how he got there, but having seen Dr. Ekman move the wall back and move the wall on multiple occasions. Sitting with the prince is his ducal knight, Harry Wallace. Harry, knowing of the general location of where the prince was, as he was assisted in the rescue several nights before, but not knowing of the exact location. However, the prince, having received correspondence from Harry from the phone, has opened that breakaway wall and allowed Harry entry. As we open our scene, the two gentlemen stand at a small college dorm size refrigerator, where the prince stands leaning on it, deep in thought. So, Dr. Ekman let me in on some ideas that he had, Mr. Wallace.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
He is apparently of the belief, though he cannot prove it, that the Nosferatu are behind this recent turn of events.
I'll admit it's possible.
What know you of these possible outcomes?
Well, it's obvious, but claws.
Say again, your audio cut out.
Oh. Alright. Just possible, but what confuses me is the claws.
Likewise, I know of but two possibilities, one being the wolves from out west, which they'd have no reason to be this far on the side of the state, or those of the clan of the Gangle, though I was unaware of any such ill sentiment between myself and that clan.
Yes, I haven't heard anything either. Um, oh, I did speak with L and Miss T, but maybe I'll save that for later when we have more people.
Probably a better idea. Speaking of more people, I'm assuming that you were able to contact the people that I needed to speak with.
Would you like?
Yes, bring them in.
Harry will adjust his crutches, straighten up from the refrigerator. Oh, and before I go, he pulls out a sheet and hands it to the prince. Make sure it's all in there. Um, we had a shipment come in. I'll be back. He walks over
Prince
to.
nods.
He will walk over to where the hidden wall, the hidden entrance is, and slide it out of the way and look for. He knows of one that should be there, but he's looking for any others that he might know. Cue either one of you.
Hmm. Nathaniel stands up. He's a rather imposing 6'2", broad shoulders, very strong chest, very sedately dressed in a set of glasses and a collared down polo kind of shirt. He takes Harry's hand and he just sort of smiles. Evening.
Ah, good to see you, Mr. Ashford. Um, I do believe His Highness is waiting for more people. Let's see. See, did you happen to see anybody else?
Um, there seemed to be a young woman wandering around. I believe she was a little bit behind.
Ah, hmm. Um, wait to see if I can find her. Hold on. I think I know who. I have an idea who you might be talking about. Let me see if I can find her. Harry will actually go walking.
And Nathaniel will kind of seat himself, and after sort of giving a bit of a courtly bow to the prince, I'll be rolling appearance performance to actually make a formal presentation.
There's a reason he said wait.
Okay.
Hmm.
There's a reason he
Which,
said
yeah,
wait.
Kendra,
If
this
you want to
is,
just go ahead, then
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Kendra,
you,
this
if
is
you want
you're there.
Hello? Am I in the right
to wait.
place?
I know that voice. Wait a sec. He looks over at the woman.
Hi. I was
Hi.
supposed to meet someone here. Do I know you?
Hmm. Voice sounds familiar. Would you happen to have any dealings with Triple Rose?
Mm, my people do. My name's Kendra, by the way. She'll hold her hand out very kind of daintily.
Realization flashes over Harry's face. Kendra from Duke. Kendra with an I.
That, yeah, that would be me.
Uh,
You are?
I'm Harry Wallace. We've talked quite a bit.
Oh, you're
It's okay.
Harry.
Yeah, hi. Sorry. Kind of scared you a little bit. He extends his hand to shake hers.
It's finally nice to meet you.
Likewise. Let's see, did you happen to see anybody else here that might need to be in on this?
Um, I'm not sure.
Okay, I guess that'll be it. And if they happen to wander in for some reason, His Highness has this ability that people just show up to see him. But yeah, if people happen to show up, I'll announce them. But okay, come on. And he actually points at Nathaniel. You, let's go. And he'll actually go in before them, into the prince. Your Highness,
The prince is having having slid one of the many pieces of furniture there to the center of the room, a somewhat fancy dinner table sits in the middle of the room with a number of metal folding chairs surrounding it. The prince seated at the head. He stands and he nods to you.
Your Highness, I'd like to introduce, formally of course, from the Mecklenburg district of Clan Ventru, Nathaniel Ashford. He'll actually turn to Nathaniel and extend a hand in introduction.
He'll, of course, take the cue and kind of approach in sort of a courtly fashion, kind of bowing twice as if he's approaching the royal throne. Just in a very royalistic fashion, bowing twice before getting into close proximity. Your Highness, always at your service.
And I assure us, sir, please have a seat.
Of course, just sort of plops down on a nearby chair.
And as he does, Harry will again clear his throat. And Clan Toreador of your resident wake to Kendra of Duke Hospital. And he'll turn to Kendra.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Prince Samuel. She'll kind of bow her head and do a small curtsy.
The prince, having been aware of the fact that a woman had entered the room, had stood, and as he turns to you, good evening, ma'am. I have heard much about you. Please, do come have a seat.
Thank you.
And you notice that he actually pulls out the chair that he perceived that you were headed for.
Oh, it's good to know that chivalry is not dead.
No, it is not chivalry that died. It is but those that are of chivalrous nature.
Nathaniel's just beaming at this.
Can never die while there are those who share it.
The prince nods. The prince nods as he invites Harry to take the final chair.
He does so.
All right, gentlemen, madam, I wanted to speak with you tonight. I was actually hoping for more, but I digress. I wanted to speak with you tonight about some disturbing news that I received. Courtesy of Dr. Ekman. I know, as I understand it, that you, Mr. Wallace, and Mr. Ashford have had dealings with the man before. I do not believe, Kendra, you have met him yet, but here's to hoping you will have the chance in the coming nights. Mr. Ekman has been nice enough to be my keeper here for the last couple of days, and he has alerted me to a bit of disturbing information that needs to be investigated. He is of the belief that the Nosferatu are behind, if not 100% responsible, for the recent attack on my life and property. He can't prove it, and nor can I. But if this is to be brought before the dukes and duchesses of the state, there is going to need to be undeniable proof of the incident. He is also of the belief that Duke Tyson may have some dealings in it as well, and I know Roderick has voiced his displeasure with my disposition in recent times.
I have a personal idea. Seeing as I don't believe there are cameras in the sewers or any way that I could physically look in, I actually formally announced myself wish to trade information with the Nosferatu because there are certain things that I know or that I was taught that they might not be aware of, and the possible way of actually extending an olive branch, checking loyalties, seeing if I can actually get a vector on some of them. This is, of course, with your genuine permission that I even attempt such a thing.
If you feel that you are accomplished in those talents, I have no qualms about this, but I will require you to, as the mortals say, to cover your ass.
Well, given that I have grown up in the gutters, I've gotten rather used to it. No one else would. He just sort of grins a bit sprightly. I've always wanted to see where they live.
Well,
It's not always pretty.
so I hear. Now, Miss Kendra, as I understand it, you have been the pretty much number one driving force of blood supply in the state for several nights now. Is that correct?
That is correct. With the help of Harry over here, he distributes it. I'm just the one that takes it and gives it to him.
Very well.
Well, it's the initial source that counts, but anyway.
You perform a vital task. A task that, without our kind, would be all but extinct. And it's a task that I will require you to continue to complete as long as you are capable to do so.
I understand.
That being said, I am assuming that you have the capability to test these samples and to check for various diseases in these bloods.
Yes, we test for diseases and we generally pre-screen everyone that comes through. I understand that you're a Ventru, and we do deal with other Ventrus who have certain tastes for blood. And so not only do we make sure that we have the diseases checked and viruses, but we also get what kind of person they are. We'll get a small medical background as well as like a brief history.
A very
Very
And
well.
I do remember reading some of those.
absolutely fantastic.
And actually, if I may say so, sir, I read one particular one, which is where you've gotten some of your supplies, sir.
And
Interesting.
Prince
Is it, but
Samuel, if you were attacked and if you're still injured, if I may, go ahead and take a look at your wounds. I might be able to help.
He eyes Harry almost questioningly.
Harry will look back at the prince. Not my version, the mortal's version.
Prince Prince Josiah, which actually for out of character note, his full name is Samuel Josiah, but most people call him by his first name, and he's never corrected him in the past. The prince stands from the table, removing the borrowed Duke University hoodie that Dr. Ekman had loaned to him. Where, Kara, you see the remnants of the previous healing of a very nasty scar across his chest. the same type of scar one would expect to see from the claws of a werewolf. You could see where he has himself done some healing of it, but it appears as though it did not receive any actual medical attention.
Ouch. Well, whenever we are done with this conversation, if you would like to move into another room, I will examine you and I will do what I can. Also, if you would like to tell Harry or text me the kind of blood that you require, and we will keep it discreet, I will call one of my personal assistants at the hospital to see if we have any of that blood. See if we can get you patched up.
I will add that to. I'll add that to an order next time I have a list.
With that regard, sire, not that I don't trust the good doctor, but I handled that information leak. The fewer people that know about your predilection, the better.
Indeed, very much so indeed. Now, again, I called you here, like I said, to disseminate that information, as well as to have a sort of come to Jesus, if you will, about where we go from here. Obviously, I'm not.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm not particularly in a position to retake the princedom at this time, not officially anyway. Thus, my chowder has become the steward, I suppose you could call him, of the princedom up in Raleigh. He is, however, still taking direct advice from myself, but for all intent and purpose, he remains the Prince of North Carolina. The fewer people that know where I am and of my health or lack thereof, the safer that I become, and in turn, the safer the state becomes.
Consider this a very tight-lipped personal secret.
If I may suggest, if you have the ability to erase or create false memories, I would suggest doing that to the vast majority of people that do come to see you. I'm not so sure how well others will be able to protect that secret from anyone else who can willfully overpower someone or torture them.
I like this one.
An excellent thought.
No.
Yet I will make you aware, Miss Kendra, in the several decades that I have ruled over this state, there seems to be a working relationship between myself and the majority of my dukes and duchesses, where secrets remain secret. There is but a handful whom I believe would be an information leak of sorts. One of them being the Tremere Duke. The other being Duchess Amos, solely because of her predilection to travel. Those would be the only two that I would have a concern for.
Now, with regard to Mr. Tyson, I have my own plans as to how to smoke the fox out of his own hole. I would request that Mr. Harry would disseminate the information about the Kingsway charity, get the gala underway, make it a very public, very loud, very audacious spectacle. Circulated in the newspapers that acting as proxy, I myself and Marquez Levatoya have generously donated for an anonymous individual and send Duke Tyson not only a personal invitation, but perhaps hint at the papers that he was the original donor, so that he is forced into this awkward situation and that his bad temperament is given free rein. You understand?
So, so you
Harry
intend
cannot contain his laughter.
to trap the badger in his own home. An excellent plan, excellent plan.
And he just kind of bows in this very courtly fashion and just sort of smiles as if he's amused with his own genius a little bit and then straightens up.
However, I feel compelled to inquire as to what your plan is if the fish does not bite.
If he doesn't bite, the best thing I can possibly think to do would be planting bugs, perhaps, finding another way to smoke him out of his hole. We do know that Duke is probably the place that the Tremere find themselves located, but the more information is let out about this generous donation, the more awkward it is for him to decline, as well as appearing a somewhat austere and vital and rather volatile individual. His bad temper being his own undoing. If he can't play the game, if he can't expose himself to the public, that would possibly whittle away his protection in Vienna. They would begin to doubt his qualifications, his control over himself.
My fear, Mr. Ashford, however, is that Vienna may have more to do with this than Tyson is making publicly known.
How far do you think the rabbit hole leads?
Quite far.
Mm-hmm.
You see, a few years ago, a few years to me, the older you get, the slower time progresses.
Indeed.
A few years, possibly 20, 30 years back, Tyson made a number of political plays, and they did not go exactly according to plan. The full details have never came out, and as far as I know, they likely never will. But suffice it to say that Tyson has been Vienna's puppet for years.
Already having somewhat of a blackmail potential with the individual, perhaps I should do a little bit more digging. Find out the details of these political arrangements.
That would be quite beneficial.
As always, the dark hand working. I'm happy to help you in any way possible. Now, with the possible disposition of this favor I am owed.
And this perks his attention greater than anything else that you've said.
I will possibly suggest that I am put in contact with individuals of certain talents, perhaps, to tutor me into certain secrets of the blood. In particular, a member of the Cards family tree. If I can broker a deal, so be it. You don't have to extend yourself too far. Just put me in contact and see what I can shake loose.
We will be in conversation.
Thank you very much, sire.
Now, as for you, Mr. Wallace, and you, Miss Kendra, how goes your plannings to deal with the Duke? I know, Kendra, you probably have little knowledge of what actually had occurred. But to bring you up to speed, this has been, as he turns to Harry, 2, maybe 3 nights ago, that I found myself under attack by
Right.
some unseen and invisible force. All evidence that I've been presented so far is leading myself and Dr. Ekman to the belief that the Tremere and or Nosferatu are behind this attack.
Premier, the ones that require other kindred's blood.
Josiah nods. And they have for years. The practices I find to be distasteful, but
I understand, and I do not wish to start a war, nor would I relish the idea of anyone getting hurt from my idea. But perhaps we could find anyone who's breaking the masquerade, and instead of having them killed, or anyone that you would suggest that's in your disapproval, to give me a sample of their blood, and I would try to start a business with the Tremere. I'll be able to know all the key players and see if I can get any information, as well as the people that we take the blood from. We'll know exactly what they're capable of doing, and if worst comes to worst, we'll know who's giving the orders, and they might retaliate.
indeed they may, but if Tyson is behind this, he's not stupid enough to swing wildly. The next play he makes is dependent on what we do.
So we have the covert trap, and we have the overt. So perhaps we should work on other possible methods, but I will be in contact with the dear doctor.
Speaking of other possible methods, as I mentioned to you before, Your Highness, I have been in contact with a couple of people, let's just say. And, Miss Taniqua, you know her very well. She's willing to get her people involved, at least on the outskirts, with a bit of a requirement.
What is it? What is it that she is asking?
You and I would have no problem with this because we've done it before. Uh, that she helps, or potentially will help, go to church with her at least once.
I always found church an enlightening experience. Certainly. Of course, having a rather...
It's a bit uncomfortable at times. Sometimes it can be very uncomfortable. You see him visibly shaking at the thought. But it is a very enlightening experience. You're right.
Having a rather unorthodox upbringing myself, I always find it amusing to think how the others live. And Nathaniel will kind of venture forward towards the prince and try and do a little bit of sleight of hand, palming a 357 Magnum and certain shelves into his pocket, and just sort of give him a bit of a wink here. I'll do that roll and see if anyone else notices it. And just one success. It's carried off pretty well, but you could probably notice it if you were looking hard enough.
The prince really isn't paying much attention. His mind is
I'm
elsewhere.
gonna roll it.
And then he'll just sort of whisper, as distasteful as it might be, sometimes it pays to have a little extra protection.
I cannot disagree with you there.
He'll just excuse himself a little bit and then venture back to his chair.
You know what? I'm not even worried about it. I'm not
Okay.
even gonna roll. I'm not worried. Would have voiced it. I'm not worried about it.
Yes, this is correct. This is correct, Mr. Wallace. I would have no problem spending a couple of hours in her tabernacle. Actually, I find the good pastor their sermons to be rather delectable at times.
Mm.
Now, Miss
How do you pronounce the
Kendra, I would recommend this course of action for you as well, though I would not require as such.
Yeah, I'll have to think about it.
If it makes
Who
you feel
knows?
better, I'll go with you. I mean, and if it gets uncomfortable, we can leave.
I just had I have a different belief, I suppose. And if any of you have really good perception, you might be able to notice the necklace that she's wearing, which kind of drops down into her cleavage.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sticky situation there.
It's
I
yeah,
have a high perception, but do I dare roll it?
Oh, Nathaniel's definitely going to roll it.
Nathaniel,
And
it's like Nathaniel would look.
yeah, exactly. And he,
Pervy intro to you.
yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna see if he notices it in passing, just at a glance.
Well, it was a 10, but it was discounted by that one. So he's just kind of sidetracked by the nice view for a second.
Maybe he might have noticed the top part of the
Chain.
necklace, but not really what was attached. Yeah, because I did get a few good successes, but he's not
Yeah.
really looking for it.
Nor is Samuel. You notice that he's purposefully avoiding that part of your figure there, Kira. He seems to be going out of his way to look you in the eyes. Though you
Ditto
feel
with
no
Harry, but he
type
will
of
venture to the
mental,
neck.
though you don't feel any kind of mental probing from the prince, more or less of an outward show of respect.
And for the sake of character description, what does your character kind of look like? I mean, being that
she has
In the
like
picture.
stark white hair. It's down to about roughly the middle of her back. Because she thought she was going to be fixing and patching someone up and giving medical attention, she has her lab coat on. She has semi-long skirt that goes down past the knees and a nice shirt under a nice collared shirt under the lab coat, and it's only unbuttoned about 2 to 3 down, so you can't really quite see the cleavage, which is why I said a perception roll. Otherwise, the necklace just would have been hanging out, so it's kind of behind the shirt.
Yep.
She has very soft features, kind of reddish violet eyes, and all of her hair is very white, like her eyelashes, her eyebrows. She's wearing a little bit of makeup, but not anything over the top.
Yep. Not having any background in science and growing up in the Victorian era, Nathaniel seems kind of fascinated with you and seems to be trying to figure out what's kind of going on there, but he just kind of changes his visual cues and just sort of tries to train himself back to what he was originally looking at, which is the prince. And if he could read his inner monologue, he'd be thinking Snow Fairy. But he doesn't say it.
Again, as I've said, Miss Kira, that is totally within your choice.
Thank you. I appreciate for giving me a choice very much.
Also,
Unlike
if
many
you're ever interested, I'm interested in hearing about this just out of curiosity. A bit later when there's privacy, if you prefer. But that's up to you. Oh, and I'm sorry, Your Highness. Go ahead.
I tend to carry myself somewhat less. He taps his finger on the dining room table there for a couple of moments, somewhat less demanding than a large number of the other brothers and sisters of my clan. Free will is a huge matter of interest to me, Miss Kira.
Belief is a very sacred thing, and it's not for the masses to judge others.
Alright. Here's what I'm going to suggest. And I will not take steps to enact this imposition unless the situation becomes of dire need for it. And this will be known publicly through my child. I'm going to suggest that we take the offer of your contact, Mr. Harry, and it should be made that that offer remains optional for those that may be interested. He turns to you,
Of course.
Nathaniel. Your particular plans seem to be sound, but ensure that you have a backup in the event of it blowing up in your face.
Of course, of course. Now, he'll kind of walk over for a second and sort of reach into a suitcase and pull out a rather nice dark jacket from this suitcase and sort of hand it over to the young lady after folding it over his arm. We wouldn't want you to melt, my dear.
What?
Well, I wouldn't want you to, have any bad contact with light or flame or fire, so I thought best to shield you. Forgive my impertinence.
Oh, thank you very much.
Hmm.
She just kind of takes it and sets it on the table in front of her.
Mentally confused as hell.
Yeah, just a little bit.
What?
She'll kind of
Josiah
glance
turned.
at Harry and then she'll glance at the prince and raise an eyebrow.
The prince himself seems to be a
Harry
little
will just
taken aback by
raise
the
an eyebrow
action,
back
but
and shake his head.
yeah, the prince himself remains taken aback a bit by the action as well. But he addresses you. Now, Miss Kendra, your plan for the blood supply is sound. But I will instruct you as I have instructed Mr. Ashford. Ensure that your plans remain covert. The last thing we need is a ghost in the machine, if you will.
I understand. And if you can go ahead and give me the list or the list to Harry and he can notify me later. And before I leave, I'd also greatly appreciate if you erased any memory that I had other than a couple key things speaking with you today. In case I do get caught or captured, I would not wish you to be found.
We can do that. Mr. Wallace, I believe you already are aware of my particular tastes. One of the few in the state that actually are.
Yes, sir.
But before I perform these actions of security, Miss Kendra, you wish to examine my wound.
That would be correct.
He rises from the table, and you notice the prince is not exactly out of shape, man. He's no Fabio in by any means, but he appears to be keeping himself in somewhat decent shape. I am at your leisure, madame.
Give
It'd
me
be intelligence medicine
Yeah, intelligence medicine.
to figure out what's wrong, what exactly is wrong with him that you might be able to fix.
Looks like I have at least 3 successes, maybe 4.
All right, so can you see? Oh, there we go. Let's say it hadn't came up
Yeah.
yet. This would be at a
6.
little bit higher difficulty. So we would have set that at 7.
So 3.
Okay.
Well, I have
The
3 9s and a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Or is the
Oh
other
yeah,
7 not
you're
showing up?
fine.
Well,
Yeah, you're good. You're good then. The wound, like I said, it looks like there has been um some healing. The wound has done some healing on its own. You would know, especially by yourself being kindred as well. It looks like looks like he has spent blood in since the attack happened to work on healing it, but he's not been able to completely heal it. The gash marks that he has not healed appear to be somewhere between a 6/8 to a 16th of an inch in depth and roughly 7 to 8 inches in length. Diameter roughly about a half an inch. There is no open bleeding from the wound that you can tell, though you are able to see some of the underlying muscle tissue. Fortunately, the wound had not festered, nor does it appear to be infected in any way, but it could use some attention.
Now, would she be able to use staples and or like dissolvable sutures, stitches to help close it up so that it heals faster?
That she could.
It looks like I'll be able to help close up the wound. I'll just need to get my things.
He nods.
Now she has like a doctor's bag or a medicine bag. I'm not sure if that would be the normal routine thing she would carry in it though.
Ah.
Well, I would say that she probably would have been carrying a trauma bag, not knowing what she was walking into.
Yeah. So what kind of roll would I need to make to actually successfully?
Probably same thing. Medicine intelligence would have reduced difficulty because you have tools.
Okay. What about? Oh, you don't think it would be dexterity for precise for suturing
Well, yeah,
and
you're
healing?
actually you could Dex would probably be better there.
Yeah.
You've already done the intelligence
medicine,
roll,
yeah.
so yeah, Dex medicine with a -1 reduction to the difficulty.
Okay, so I was gonna say I have 2 specialties right there. So
Nice.
All right, roll that beautiful beam footage.
okay, does it come up?
Oh, yes.
Uh,
You're quite a wonder.
Wow.
I think it has. It just
Doubled.
hasn't come up on my
So,
end yet.
Oh,
But you can see it, Walt. So.
yeah, 6, 9, 10, 6, 4, 4.
Holy shit.
3-8.
Yeah, you're able with
What?
extreme
Sorry, I couldn't
precision.
see because of the way I had it.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
6, 9, 10, 6, 4, 4, 3, 8.
8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're able to
Pretty good.
yeah, with extreme precision. We're talking operating room precision.
God's a woman doctor. Now I've seen everything.
Excuse me?
Oh, forgive me, I'm a bit of an old fossil.
He
Uh-huh.
looks at the work, looks at Kendra. I thought you were just a nurse. That's good.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
The prince lets out an audible sigh, though you're not sure why. He shouldn't have to breathe. As he turns towards you, nodding, and you notice the whole time his voice, since he's been talking to you, almost seems angelic of sorts. Not in any type of seductive way, more of a sage-like demeanor. That is much appreciated.
You're very welcome. Anytime you need any sort of medical assistance, I could give you my number, and I'll be here as quickly as I can.
Very well. I shall see to it that your contacts are placed within my files. Now, if no one else has anything further, I believe we can dismiss for the evening.
Of course. And with that, Nathaniel will just kind of slowly sidle out the door.
All right,
And
Mr. Ashford. Before you leave, Miss Kendra did bring up a valid point. If you could all look into my eyes, please.
Come and looks directly at him.
Give me 1 second. Would Kendra know that contacts or glasses affect the ability of domination?
She likely would not if she does not have the ability to do it herself.
Yeah, she does, but only 1 point. So she'll remove her contacts.
Ooh.
All right, and also, Prince Josiah also spends a single blood point.
willpower, you mean?
And so, no, actually, a blood point at this point. 1 success, and I know you all, or at least if you're smart, all have more than a 1 in willpower. So that actually manages to likely fail.
I don't think it worked.
All right.
Harry will
All
look
right.
at the prince and say,
Apologies.
I believe, sir, virtue of my title, I'll be fine.
Your Majesty.
Likewise, as the prince shakes his head. You know what? I'll give it one more shot. If it doesn't go through, then this time, so be it. All right. It's your current character's willpower. It's his difficulty.
Yep, he got me with that one. At least 4 successes. So.
Oh, it's difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Harry
Oh
will
yeah, her
stare.
memory is wiped.
Right.
Harry will
Um,
stare at the prince for a while, blankly, blink and nod.
and for some reason, you can't recall how you got here. Nor can you recall why you came here.
Hmm. In Nathaniel's mind, he's just thinking, I came here to tell the doctor couldn't find him, and I'm leaving.
Now, gentlemen, madam, again, as I said, that's all I have for this evening. So, if you'll excuse me, feel I must retire for the evening. But do take care of yourselves.
As always. And he'll just sort of walk down the hall and leave.
Harry will very briefly, and out of the sight of any others, lift up his hat and nod. Your Highness, you know where to find me. And he will very slowly and carefully walk out the door looking for anybody else who might be around besides the other two,
Place appears to be
just
empty.
casually. Okay. And he'll actually walk over beside Kindred. This is just briefly. Now, I'm going to want to talk to you again soon. I'll keep in touch. And if you need any rides anywhere, back to work, to your haven, wherever, just call me.
Yes, I would actually
And
require
with
one
that,
right
he will.
now. That would be great.
Ah, ah, okay. My van's waiting outside, so come on. I'll. And the two will walk out.
As the kindred take their exits, our camera pans up to the lab of Dr. Ekman, where under one of the tables were set a series of beakers. A single blinking red light is seen.